Hi, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to our week number 3 Twitch live stream for my intro psych class. Hope everyone's doing well and hanging in there as we have finished our first 2 weeks of the semester. Can you all hear me and see me okay? Someone let me know in the chat if everything's coming through all right and clear. It looks good on my end, but always like to double check that it's good on your end. If you can hear and see me, maybe a thumbs up or a yes in the chat would be amazing. I'll wait just a second just to make sure. My chair keeps slowly sinking. I'll just slowly get lower and lower as I go. Can you, okay, good, I got a yes. So everything is coming through. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. So weeks 1 and 2 are done. We have passed the 1/4 way of our class together this semester. So what I want to do is give you a little bit of feedback quickly on weeks 1 and 2, and including the exam and the discussions, and then we'll go over the reminders for this week. I'll give you the Twitch extra credit question and show you how to answer it, and then I will see if any of you have any questions for me at the end. So kind of following that format like we normally do. And if you're joining me for the first time, which it looks like a few of you are, the chat is your way to communicate with me. And I will give you that extra credit question a little later so that you can get those points for joining me. So let's head over to Canvas together and take a look. As I said, weeks 1 and 2 are over. And what you hopefully saw was on Monday, I did grade all of your discussions and I brought over all of your exam scores from the ebook site. And typically what you'll see is on Mondays, once the deadline is passed, that's what I'll do. And then I sent out an email with some kind of general feedback and scores, and then some reminders for this week. So if we take a quick look at those first 2 weeks, the biggest thing that you had the first 4 discussions, and then you had the exam. So what I saw was largely fantastic. A lot of you did really well on the tests. A lot of you got, full points or very close to on the discussions. So if we look at each one really quickly, discussion 1, the biggest thing that I saw here was some people messed up the nature and nurture definitions. That was probably the biggest issue. Nature refers to genetics and things that are like naturally inherited, like genes and physical traits for the most part we talk about. And nurture is more of like the environment and experiences and learning. A few people put nature as like trees and plants and things outside, which is true, but not so much for our class. The other thing I saw was maybe not quite giving me enough. So if you found that you lost a couple of points for not giving me enough detail, try and give me a little bit more this week and next week to get all of those points. And then finally, I did see some people forgetting to reply to a classmate. So don't forget to always do that. That's worth 2 points. It's kind of an easy 2 points to get. For discussion number 2 on research methods, I love this. So many of you came up with really interesting topics that you would love to know more about. It was kind of all over the place, which I love. The biggest thing that I saw here was just not quite giving me enough detail. Some of you kind of gave me a very like broad overview, but didn't give me like details like I wanted. So again, make sure you're always elaborating and kind of answering things like you thinking of it almost like a mini paper in a way. And then for discussion 3, if we move into week number 2, discussion 3 was all about neurons. I hope you enjoyed some of the 10% myth materials. It's a very commonly held myth and belief, and hopefully now you understand why it's not true. The biggest reason people lost points here was on number 2, kind of like I gave you a heads up about. If you didn't talk about electrochemical communication or the role of ions and neurotransmitters, you probably lost a couple of points for that. So again, just to always be elaborating, always better to give me too much than not enough. But a lot of you did a beautiful job here, really nicely done. And then finally, discussion 4 was a little smell memory activity, which I hope you enjoyed. A lot of you seemed to enjoy it and smelling some really like random things, and some of you having memories related to that, which was pretty cool to read. The biggest reason people struggled here was not giving me enough on what smell memories are and how they occur. I was looking for you to mention the limbic system and the amygdala and the olfactory bulb and maybe even conditioning. So kind of the general takeaway from the discussions, if you got like 11, 12, 13, 14 points, give me a little bit more. Make sure that you're always answering all of the questions. And then don't forget to always reply to a classmate. Those 2 points are really easy to get, and you want to make sure that you are getting them every time. Several of you did the extra credits both weeks, which I think is fantastic. Those points are only going to just go toward your grade. And so if maybe you got a score that you're not thrilled with on a discussion or the exam, those points will just add. So I hope you continue to do that. And thank you so much for those of you joining me live or watching this later. The other obviously really big thing we had in those first 2 weeks was exam number 1. And on the first exam, the average score was just shy of an A. It was an 88.2%. So a very high B, which is fantastic. That's a really solid, strong average. The average amount of time people took to take the exam was 59 minutes, which tells me most of you had plenty of time. It was under an hour, and you had 75 minutes to take it. So I would really love to encourage you to use the first exam and the first 2 weeks as kind of a learning opportunity. If you're super happy with how you did on the exam score, which a lot of you should be patting yourself on the back, keep doing the same thing. It clearly worked for you and things are going well. If you wish you had done a little bit better, now is a fantastic time to kind of reevaluate. So as we move into a new unit and a new set of 2 weeks, you could study a little bit differently, study a little bit more. If you didn't do the study guide, obviously that would be a big one to change for this next unit. But a lot of you should be very happy. Just take the opportunity to kind of reflect on what you've done so far. And do you want to keep doing it, or do you need to make any changes at all? And so in order to kind of help you with that just a little bit, what I have here, sorry, let me just double check this right here. On my phone, it wasn't showing up, but it looks like it's all fine. What I'd like you to do this week is there's a little self-assessment that you'll be filling out on here. And this is going to allow you to kind of reflect. It is worth 5 points. So I'll talk about that in a minute, but you'll see it right here. Otherwise, we move on now to weeks 3 and 4 and into some new topics. Everything from week 3 and 4 is due by Sunday, February 4th at 11:59 p.m. So this week and next week. And for week number 3, which we're in, so that's what we'll focus on today, we're starting the topics of consciousness and learning. Consciousness is probably my favorite chapter that we cover in here. Super interesting, looking at sleep and dreams and hypnosis and drugs. Chapter 6, really, really relevant to so many things, looking at learning and conditioning, how we can condition ourselves to be responding to things in our environment. So as always, do 3 things for every chapter, right? 1, you want to read the ebook, read the chapter. 2, you want to read through the lecture, and 3, make sure you read through and watch the lecture video. So make sure you do that for chapters 5 and 6. You have 2 discussions this week, like you will every week, so let's take a look at those together. For discussion number 5, this one's on chapter 5, and as always, you have my instructions up here, some quick reminders to think about it as like a mini paper and elaborate. Don't forget that peer response worth 2 points. Don't forget to watch my video. I think the videos are really helpful in kind of going over the prompt a little more. But this one's all about dreams, dreams and sleep. So I have a little video here. I gave you some tips on remembering dreams in case maybe you forget them pretty frequently. There's also some more in the lecture about that. And then you're going to read through this dream article as well. Once you've watched the video, you've read the dream article, you've read the chapter, I want you to think about a dream that you've recently had and that you remember with some degree of detail. It's also make sure you pick something that you're comfortable sharing, right? If it was something uncomfortable, wait for another one. If it was about me, wait for another one. Don't share that, right? I once had a student share with me they had a dream where they killed me, and then I couldn't look at them the same way. So if it's about me or if you're not comfortable, wait for another one. We have a couple of weeks for this, so you have some time. You're going to briefly explain your dream from 2 of the different dream theories that we talked about in the article and in the book. I want you to kind of briefly describe your dream, and then how could you interpret it and explain where it came from 2 different theories. And now make sure, and I put this right here in bold, make sure that you describe the theories in order to get full credit. So if you pick extension of waking life as one of your theories, make sure you tell me what that means and you elaborate a little bit, and then connect it to your dream.